Welcome back to my weekly Q&A show. We got a lot of great topics to get into today, so let's just dig right in. Question number one is, how often should you take time off? And I really recommend, when you're following Max OT style training, every 8 to 10 weeks after you complete it, you want to take at least one complete week off for total recovery. Now during that week off, if your goal is maximum fat burning, it's okay to still do cardio work on that week. But if you're in more of a maximum muscle building phase, then I think that you want to take the whole entire week off from everything, because you need to remember that the response, the stimulus and recovery response, is happening 24/7. So even though you're not training that week, you still have an opportunity and you're recovering from all the workouts you've done. So take that week off, you're still going to progress, and make sure you're following great nutrition during that week and following a good supplementation program and a lot of quality protein. Question number two was, how do you target different areas of the muscle? And I get that a lot. This one was kind of specifically asking about different heads of the tricep, how to target it. And I really don't think that's the best way to try to approach it. We don't really want to try to target certain areas of the muscle. If you think about it, we'll even look at the triceps, for example. The tricep, all muscles are meant to work together in unison to push, a heavy weight, or to extend or flex a joint. That's what they're designed to do. So more effective than trying to isolate certain heads of a muscle is to really let it work how it wants to, which is in unison together, and handle heavy weights and basic lifts. So I really don't prescribe trying to isolate a certain area of the muscle. I say stick with the basic compound lifts, like with triceps, for example. That would be an overhead extension or skull crusher and a cable push down, where you can achieve maximum load through a good controlled rep range. Number three, how far out from a show do you start decreasing calories? It's a great question. And generally, the time frames, I like to start about 20 weeks out from a contest. Now, that doesn't mean that the skimming is going to start right away or the caloric reductions are going to start right away. What I first do is eliminate all non-bodybuilding foods, or your reward day. Get that out of there, and then you start that way. Then it depends on your condition and the proximity you are to the show as far as how you do your skims. Skims could start anywhere from 16 to 18 weeks out. Again, this depends upon your level of conditioning. But I will say the real message here is give yourself plenty of time to prepare. Don't jump in last minute for a show. It's not going to work. You need to spread it out over a long period of time so you can maintain and build and maintain as much muscle as possible during the caloric skimming process. Number four, how do you work with an unusual work schedule, like if you're working midnights or rotating shifts? That's another great question. I mean, life happens, right? And schedules happen, and you can't always do things necessarily ideal. But if you could do one thing right, that is make sure your pre and your post-workout nutrition is spot on. And that's true whether you're working out in the early AM or the middle of the night or wherever that falls in your work schedule. Make sure you got that pre-workout drink, the post-workout drink, and then that whole bubble following up to 3 hours after your workout. Make sure you're having the majority of your carbohydrates and calories and good proteins in that bubble, regardless of when you work out. So that's number one. Make sure that shifts with your workout. Number two, if you got a crazy schedule, one thing that can help a lot is a good quality meal replacement. And I like to use that in a lot of the nutrition plans anyway, but there has a big convenience factor because you can just shake it up and get to instant nutrition really quickly. So you keep those things in mind, and then just do the best you can with the schedule that you're allotted. And number five, I was asked, do I do any other workouts other than Max OT throughout the year? And the answer is no. I do not stray at all from the Max OT principles, because the goal of any weight training program, the goal of the weight training part is to stimulate muscle growth. And we know the best way to achieve that is through maximum load and basic lifts. And if you want to build appreciable amounts of muscle mass, it takes many, many months of great execution. And you don't want to break that momentum up by doing, Max OT for 6 weeks and then some other lighter training for this week and jumping all around the board, because you're going to take away from that momentum. And at the end of the day, the basics are the best. So don't overcomplicate the process. Stick with the basic Max OT principles and work on progressing your weight over time. And again, I would stick with Max OT indefinitely because it works the best. So that wraps up our 5 questions. I got a couple of announcements to make. I wanted to remind everybody that coming up, I have my body transformation seminar. That's going to be right here at Jeff Willet's Powerhouse Gym. It's going to be on Wednesday, June 4th at 7 o'clock. It is free for Jeff Willet Powerhouse Gym members, and the public is certainly welcome. We'd love to have you come. It's $10 to attend. Seating is limited, so you can give us a call here at the gym at 517-265-5533, or send me a message me on Facebook or Twitter to reserve your spot. My next announcement is we are right in the middle of shooting my next video project, which is a video designed specifically for the bikini, the figure, and the physique competitor. We want to show how great that these Max OT principles and the nutrition, the cardio work for women too. And to help me illustrate that, I have up-and-coming NPC bikini competitor Heather Stump, who's featured in the video. And Heather, I met Heather about maybe 5 or 6 months ago, I guess, and she started adopting these principles and just did a wonderful job. So Heather, maybe you could tell the audience here like what you've noticed since you've adopted this training and how everything's gone for you.
Well, like Jeff said, I started this about 5-6 months ago, and I've had the best results I've ever had. My first show, I went about it myself. I wasn't lifting heavy. I was doing tons of cardio, and I wasn't getting the results I wanted. So when I saw the method that Jeff was giving, I wanted to try it. I wanted to go out of the norm, and nationally qualified now. So
she did great, and through executing, she took second place, and like she said, nationally qualified. And she's helping me. She's featured in our upcoming video, so it's going to be a great illustrating and great tool to show you how you bikini and figure competitors can use these principles and really maximize your development. So stay tuned for a lot more information about that video coming up. So I want to thank you all for tuning in. I'll see you next week. Now let's go out and execute.